Hello and welcome back to the Data Unite channel. Today we are going to understand how to implement the random forest regressor machine learning model on a real-world dataset where we are interested to predict whether if a company spends money on a different platform for marketing purposes, such as TV or radio or a newspaper, will impact on the sales. As you can see, I have imported all the necessary frameworks that are going to be used for our exercise today, and also I have imported our model, which is the random forest regressor. And the first thing that we need to do is to load our data that we're gonna use for our example. So for that I'm gonna load our Excel file. And I'm gonna print the first 5 rows of our dataset. If you want to print more, you can just input 10, for example, and you can run it and you will have the first 10 records. So this is how you can use the head function. And next we want to understand our data. So what does this mean? We need to understand which is the data type of our features. For that we can use info, and as you can see, all of the features are of type float. Then we need to understand if which is the shape of our dataset. So for that we can use, you can also see it here. We have 200 entries, which means that we have 200 records, and you can see also the number of the columns. The other way is to call the shape function, and it will give you how many rows and how many columns you have for your data set. Next, we also need to see if we have some duplicates or some missing values. So for that we are gonna try this way. This will show us if we have some missing values. If we have all zeros, this means that there are no missing values in our data frame. And if we have duplicates, any, okay, this means that we don't have duplicates, because if it was true, then that would mean that we have also duplicates. Now that we have seen that our data is ready, does not have missing values, does not have duplicates, we can split our data set into independent and dependent variables. In our case, sales is the dependent variable, which means that this is the one that we want to predict. And the rest three, so TV, radio, and newspaper, are gonna be the independent features or variables, which will be used to predict our sales. So for that we want to split these two. We want into X to have only TV, radio, and newspaper. So for that we do and in Y we're gonna keep the sales feature. And since this is a random forest regressor, we should not do any let's say standardization of our data, because our random forest model will manage them, so we don't have to put them into the same range with standard scaler, or maybe also let's say rebalancing our data. That will be all done automatically by the model. So the next thing that is that we should do is just splitting our data into training and testing. So for that we're gonna do train size is gonna be at 30%. It's gonna be 42. Okay. Now we can define our model and then fit our model with input X train and Y train. That way we will train our model. So random forest regressor model fit okay, this means that our model has been trained on the training dataset, and now we will create a prediction using as input the X test data frame. So ypred equals to model Now that we have our prediction, we can use some of the metrics that are used for regression problems, such as mean absolute error, mean squared error, or root mean squared error, and compare the prediction that is made and stored into ypred with the original data that is stored into the ytest data frame. So I'm gonna choose the mean squared error because that one is one of my preferred ones that I use normally, but you can choose any one of them, and it's important that each of them, for each of them, the value that you get should be as close as possible to 0. So let's see performance. Yes. Okay, so as you can see, we have a value of 1.618. This is, let's say, quite good result, but we should focus on having performance results with values less than 1, because that would mean that our model performs very well. But anyway, with this amount of manipulation of the data, and also we have only 200 rows, and you saw that we have split our data into training and testing, so we have how much? About 70 rows for testing and 140 for the training, which is a low amount of data to train a model on. But anyway, this model has performed pretty well, so we can say that this model works correctly. Anyway, I would suggest when you are creating your models to have more data so that you can train it better, because then the model will see much more stuff and will be able to understand the data that you're gonna use when you want to predict something. So with this, we have implemented the random forest regression model on a real-world dataset, and as you can see, you have to do various steps, and you have to understand your data, and also you have to understand your model, what are the pros and cons of your model, because with some algorithms you will have to perform some more data wrangling or data management, like cleaning, but with some models you will not have to do that much work. And one of those algorithms that does not require a lot of work is random forest. So my suggestion is to use it as much as possible, but you can also go and look for other models, other algorithms that might work better for you. Any case, Thank you very much for following this video until the end, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye bye.